Hello, everyone. I got 4 dirty jokes for you today. 3 nuns passed away and went up to heaven. They were greeted warmly by St. Peter, who was holding the book of life. The nuns were pleasantly surprised when St. Peter, after flipping through the pages of the book, informed them that they had lived such exemplary lives that God Himself was exceptionally pleased. In exchange for their many years of selfless devotion, religious obedience, and strict adherence to the vow of chastity, God had decided to bestow upon each one of them a unique gift, a single wish of their choosing. Upon hearing this, the first nun, a little shy and blushing, spoke up. This is slightly embarrassing to admit, but while I truly cherished serving the Lord, the vow of chastity was really quite a challenge for me, she confessed softly. Gathering her courage, she continued, "Could I possibly return to Earth for a short weekend with the body of the famous actress Angelina Jolie?" St. Peter, although a little taken aback, smiled and responded, "Your wish, dear sister, is granted." With a deafening poof and a swirl of celestial smoke, the nun disappeared, off to fulfill her wild earthly fantasy. Seeing this, the second nun felt encouraged and said with enthusiasm, "I'd like to request the same, but could I return with the body of the much-adored actress, Jennifer Lawrence?" Once again, St. Peter said, "Your wish, dear sister, is granted." With another loud poof and a blast of heavenly sparkle, she vanished, leaving only a whiff of divine scent behind. The third nun, an Italian lady with bright eyes, nodded her head in agreement and eagerly spoke up. "I too would like the same exciting experience, but I wish to return with the face and body of Alice Gann Pippolini." St. Peter, furrowing his brows in confusion, replied, "I'm sorry, sister, but I am not familiar with her. Is she a well-known starlet in the entertainment industry?" Unable to contain her excitement, the sister squealed, "Oh my, yes, indeed. She's arguably the most renowned one of them all. I have been holding onto this newspaper article about her for many years." With that, she reached into the folds of her nun's habit and pulled out an old, yellowed, crinkly newspaper article, which she handed to St. Peter with hands trembling with anticipation. St. Peter, intrigued, carefully unfolded the aged paper and read the headline aloud: "Alaskan Pipeline. Laid by 500 men in 1 week." A television journalist was assigned with the intriguing task of journeying to the remote countryside. His mission was to construct a detailed feature about the unique and often overlooked lifestyles of the folks living far from the city's hustle and bustle. On arriving in the serene rural landscape, he noticed an elderly man leisurely seated near the entrance of a worn-out cottage, with a bottle of what appeared to be some homemade brew. The reporter introduced himself with a friendly smile and asked the old man how he found life in this isolated location. The old man returned the smile and responded, "We pretty much do what you city folks do, son, but to that, we add manual labor, nurturing the livestock, reaping the fields, and the usual rural tasks you see." Curious for some local stories or anecdotes to add more flavor to his bland feature, the reporter gently probed if the old man had any interesting tales to share. A hearty laugh echoed from the old man as he nodded. "Indeed, I do have a tale for you, young man. Once upon a time, a fellow villager's wife got lost. We mustered a group of about 5 of us sturdy men and embarked on a search. We eventually found her, and well, we all had our way with her." Taken aback by the shocking turn of events in the story, the reporter swiftly shifted the topic. He asked about the local fauna, figuring he couldn't include the old man's previous narrative in his report. But the old man burst into laughter once again and said, "Ah, there's another amusing incident. One day, a fellow villager's goat went missing. So we assembled a search party of 6 men and set out to find it. After we found it, whoa, whoa, whoa," the reporter interjected hastily, feeling a sense of déjà vu. "Hold on, old man. There must be a story of profound significance, a story imbued with emotions like joy or sorrow. Surely there's a transformative event that took place in your life." The old man, taken by surprise, looked deeply into the reporter's eyes. His face fell, and his eyes began to glisten with the onset of tears. He looked down for a moment and then, in a voice choked with emotion, began his heartfelt tale. "There was a time when I got lost. A petite elderly woman was ambling down the town's main street, laboriously dragging behind her 2 oversized plastic garbage bags. One of the bags was ripped, and every so often, a crisp $20 note would escape its confines and flutter onto the sidewalk. Observing this peculiar spectacle, a local policeman decided to intervene. He approached the elderly woman and said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but there are $20 bills dropping out from your bag onto the pavement." "Oh my, really? How terribly inconvenient," the little old lady responded in surprise. "I suppose I should retrace my steps and see if I can recover any of them. I'm grateful for your sharp eye, officer." "Now hold on a minute," the policeman interjected, his tone becoming more serious. "I can't help but wonder, where did you come by such a substantial amount of money? You didn't steal it, did you?" "Heavens, no," the elderly woman declared. "You see, my modest backyard borders a popular golf course. Quite a few golfers have developed a rather unpleasant habit of relieving themselves through a knothole in my fence, directly into my beloved flower garden. The acidity is detrimental to the plants, you know. At first, I was enormously vexed by their lack of respect, but then a light bulb moment occurred, and I decided to capitalize on the situation instead. So now I stealthily station myself behind the fence, near the notorious knothole, armed with my trusty hedge clippers. Every time some uncouth fellow decides to misuse my fence, I spring into action. I firmly grasp the offending object and issue an ultimatum: hand over $20, or this gets clipped off. "Well, that seems like a fair trade," chuckled the policeman, amused by the ingenious scheme. "I wish you luck in your unusual enterprise. By the way, may I ask what the contents of the second bag are?" The elderly woman smirked and said, "Not everybody pays." A distressed man pays a visit to his trusted doctor, lamenting about his marital troubles. He's particularly upset because his wife seems to have lost all interest in being intimate with him, and it has been this way for the past 6 months. The empathetic doctor suggests that the man should bring his wife into the clinic for a consultation. He's hopeful that if he can have a frank conversation with her, he may be able to pinpoint the root cause of the problem. So, as instructed, the wife makes her way to the doctor's office the following day. Upon her arrival, the doctor welcomes her and initiates the conversation, gently asking her what's bothering her and why she has lost her desire to be intimate with her husband. "Oh, that's an easy one to answer," the wife starts off. "You see, every morning for the past 6 months, I've been commuting to my job by taxi since we only have one car. However, I don't have any cash to spare for the fare. The taxi driver always asks me the same question: are you going to pay today or what? Being short on cash, I invariably choose or what. That's not all," she carries on with her tale. "By the time I arrive at my workplace, I'm invariably late. My boss, understandably annoyed, confronts me asking, 'Are we going to make a note of this tardiness in your record, or what?' To avoid any official record of my chronic lateness, I choose or what once again. Then there's the journey back home after a long day at work. The cycle repeats itself with the cab driver. I still don't have the money, and he poses the same question. So, are you going to pay this time or what? Yet again, my only viable option is or what. So, as you can see, Doc, by the time I get home, I'm completely drained. I just can't bring myself to entertain any thoughts of intimacy." "Ah, I see," the doctor says, understanding her predicament. "So, are we going to tell your husband, or what?"